On the phone, it's a pleasure to welcome back to the program Becky Bond of CREDO Action, the political director of CREDO Action. Becky, thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's great to be here, Sam.
Now, Becky, I was just, I want to, I want to talk about what happened in Illinois, and I want to talk about the Grayson letter and also Keystone Pipeline. But I was just talking about the build up to Iraq and the tremendous amount of dissent that was really kept out of the the mainstream press, of virtually all press, in many respects, and the rush, the war that took place. And I just want to get your thoughts from what you remember about that time, because I found it so incredibly frustrating. Blogs were just starting at that time, and they were operating almost in their own little bubble. But it was the first time that people could sort of connect with each other over this issue, and at the very least, realize that there were other people who share the same perspective and see that it's not sort of permeating what was the not just conventional wisdom, but it was the sort of, there was no bifurcation between conventional wisdom and non-wisdom at that time. There was just only this one monolithic supposed conventional wisdom.
You know, I'm glad you asked that question, because I've been thinking a lot about that this morning. It was 10 years ago Saturday, a couple days after the invasion of Iraq, that I was marching in an anti-war protest in San Francisco, and I was arrested with about 700 other people, peaceably walking on the sidewalk, and sort of taken to lockup. And in San Francisco, here where I was, and Working Assets, which was the predecessor to CREDO, at CREDO, we were very involved in the anti-war effort. And there was this amazing uprising of people to protest the war. And so, you know, what we saw coming out of the mainstream media and coming out of Washington, D.C. was absolutely contradicted by what we saw on the streets every day, where people were out both before and after the invasion, and where, you know, I myself, just a citizen participating in peaceful protests, ended up, you know, being swept up, not out to commit civil disobedience, but just to swept up with hundreds of other citizens protesting the war, that ended up in arrest. And it was, in fact, you know, it's in the history of CREDO. Back at that time, I had been running a radio show, so not much unlike you. We had a radio show that was on the local NPR affiliate here in San Francisco, and I had been hired to do media. But it was in the run up to the war, where the country was so, you know, hell bent on invading Iraq, our government, and we actually switched our focus from trying to do progressive media, because that's what I was doing. I was the executive producer of this radio show back in 2001 to 2003, that we basically pulled me off the radio show, and I started organizing for CREDO these huge protests against the war. And we raised money to put up billboards that said, "Bring the troops home." This was before we had even invaded, because we had our ships in the Gulf, and we were doing everything we could to fight the invasion of Iraq. And after the invasion, I did get arrested, and we continued to protest the war. And it was at that point that we decided, CREDO as a company, that we would shift our focus from trying to sort of compete with the mainstream media and spread the progressive message, to actually being deeply involved in organizing, because we thought organizing was what was needed in order to prevent another invasion like the invasion of Iraq. And so I switched at that point. It was after the invasion of Iraq that I switched full-time to organizing, and we announced as a company, which was quite rare. CREDO announced as a company a goal of registering 1 million anti-war voters before the 2004 re-election of George Bush. And that was the beginning of my switch from being an executive producer of a CREDO radio show to being the political director of CREDO, the company, which was dedicated to organizing to try and stop things like the invasion of Iraq.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I think I probably ended up in political talk radio as a function of the war, and really, I think in many respects, the run up to the war. The first political talk radio I did was simply a break from my entertainment career at that time, just simply because it was just so stunning to me how little voice was being how little opportunity there was for any dissent to be presented to the American public. I mean, I remember doing. I mean, and I was just so bad at it, and but I did a couple of hours, and my father had listened, and my father was a relatively liberal guy, but you know, the voices of Thomas Friedman at the time, and others, and I think I had specifically said on this show, and none of the information I had, of course, was a function of reporting beyond just sort of finding the stories that were out there, but they were always on the back pages of the newspaper or simply buried somewhere, and saying, you know, this is going to cost trillions of dollars. It's going to cost hundreds of thousands of lives, and there's no reason to do it. And I just remember arguing with my father at the time, and him saying, him just basically buying what was being fed. You know, when guys like Thomas Friedman come out and say, we got to wage this war, then it was very easy for people to accept. And I just remember feeling this sense of isolation and sort of like literally this sense of might as well be in a closet. And in terms of speaking this dissent and seeing it not influence anything that was happening. And part of the reason why I feel it's appropriate to have you on today to talk about what Credo Action does and to talk about these specific issues, but you know, and also more generally, is because I feel like we have now multiple different infrastructures that, with the use of social media and the way that the internet has, in many ways, supplanted the mass media that we had, that I like to think that these things can't happen again, but maybe I'm deluding myself. But it certainly will be much easier for us to prevent it.
I agree with shows like yours and podcasts that people can listen to, even if it's not in an area where they can listen to it on the radio. The fact that we have the blogosphere, which was really kind of at its height in 2005, 2006, that we need to support. You know, we forget sometimes that we need to support these media channels, or else, you know, we're not going to have them in key times when we need this to get information that we can use to organize and push back against the leaders. I mean, there's tremendous forces, economic and political, that are always pushing us to these needless wars. And if we are not prepared to fight back and organize enough people to oppose the major corporations that profit off of war and the politicians that use war to starve government and fit their ideological agenda, then we're going to find ourselves right back where we were back in 2003.